I know you're all excited about the Beginner's Grind episode 7, but today we're doing something a little bit different. Today we are going to reference element fission units in Summoner's War terms, so you guys get a good understanding of like, oh, this unit, well, that's kind of like this other unit in Summoner's War. I know we discussed it a little bit when we actually stumble upon these units here and there, but I thought it'd be nice to actually have a video where we discuss it more in full so you can reference it and be like, oh yeah, I got this thing. I remember that is like this other unit. So let's get it started. First off, we have the Water Steelwings. It is very similar to, and it's not always, as you can see here, it's not always like this water unit is like that other water unit in Summoner's War. Some of them are, and some of them are like directly, like there's one unit that's just like directly like Molong, but some of them is like, hey, it's kind of like this one unit, it's kind of like this other unit too. Also, some of them I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't know what this would really relate to in Summoner's War terms, but also, personally, I missed out on 2 balance patches, so I don't know what changed in the past 2 Summoners War balance patches. I also don't know anything about those new, not Jujutsu guys, Demon Slayer units. I have actually no idea what they even do. I know my wife has summoned them. I haven't seen her account. I haven't played with any of the Demon Slayer units. Haven't even seen anything about them. So some of them might be similar to Demon Slayer units. I have no idea. I really have no. I quit cold turkey. I haven't touched it, but I do plan on like logging in just to see because there's a couple possibly messages I missed in the meantime. But yeah. Anyway, let's discuss more. So we have the Steelwings, very much like Lauren in Summoner's War. He's got the first hit, double hit. Second skill is triple hit. It's slow on the first hit, incurable on the second hit, and then the weak spot detect passive decrease action bar by 15% and inflicts defense down, 1 turn defense down whenever you attack the enemy. Very much like these Steelwings, man. These are all different, like super meta characters. Like this one is, I'm sure you guys getting tired of it by now. This one is like Shannon. This one is like Colleen. I forget what these ones are like. Grant all allies immunity. Wasn't one of these? I thought this was like Lynn. I thought one of these was supposed to be like Lynn. Anyway, this is kind of like Mentora. Defense down and damage over turn. Excuse me, but we're talking about the water ones now. And if I don't get this done a little bit faster, then it's going to take forever because we've gone over 1 unit and it's been 3 minutes. So next one, Clockwerk, is very similar to the Water Grim Reaper. Mostly because of it. Not completely, because we have this one damage based on speed. I don't think he does damage based on speed. Also, he strips and freezes with the second skill, when Clockwerk doesn't do that. Clockwerk's got a completely different second skill, but he does have 2 turn damage over turn to all enemies, gains extra turn after using this ability, like the Grim Reaper. What else do we have? Next one is the Water Popo Rider. I like to call her the Water Poo-Poo Rider. Actually, like Joltan. So, skill 1. Let's go with the skill 3 first, because that's the one that actually is like Joltan. Inflicts 1 turn damage over turn to attacker when you're attacked. Inflict 12% of your max HP as damage back to the attacker when you receive a critical hit. So, very much like Joltan. And then we have this attack and enemy damage based on target's max HP. That's kind of similar to like Spectra and the other, because like the other ones of this are like this fire one is kind of like a Spectra. So, but this one's got that Joltan skill. So next we have the Dome Fighter. Dome Fighter is actually like the Frankenstein. I believe all of these Dome Fighters are similar to the Frankensteins. But we've got this immune to defense down. Outgoing damage is increased, incoming damage decreased according to the number of attack you received. Resets after you attack an enemy during your turn. Actually, he's kind of similar to the other Frankenstein as well, this Dome Fighter. And then we've got the 2-turn defense up and taunt as well. And then we have this stun. So kind of similar to the... Why is this lagging so much all of a sudden? I don't know. We've got the Hog Chef over here. So Hog Chef is most similar to the Garuda, the Water Garuda. We also have the leader skill, but removes all debuffs on all allies and gives also a 2-turn crit dampen. And then we have this increased action bar of an ally target by 100% and attack up and effect up. So a little bit better version of the Water Garuda. What do we have next? We have Sharpshooter. A lot of you guys are already using this. So this Sharpshooter is very much like the Fire Inugami. He does this, the Sharpshooter does defense down. We have all allies crit up, then teams up 2 allies to attack an enemy. Fire Inugami does not do crit buff. Also, there is a, I think it's in the guild shop that it actually increases your crit rate. So it's like a tower in Summoner's War, but it is for crit. So that's nice. Gives people extra opportunity to crit. So decrease your cooldown by 1 turn. Gain extra turn if you kill an enemy during your turn. And then we have the water teammates get 18 speeds, which is kind of like the water one, but also kind of like more like the fire one, right? It gains an extra turn if you kill an enemy. So it's not bad for farming, but a lot of people like the other units for farming more. So the turtle tank, let's see what the turtle tank is like. Turtle tank is like the water inferno. I believe we just used that in the last video. So he's got the skill 3 increase action bar of allies by 50%. Also grant them 3 turn crit up. And then we have, this is not necessarily like the water inferno. And neither is this, but it's really this 3rd skill, N2O accelerate. So what do we have next is we have the Occult Dancer. So Occult Dancer is like Rena in Summoner's War. I feel like we should kind of, nope. I'm going to mess this up. It's bothering me that this is kind of a little bit off to the side, right? Is it bothering anyone else, or am I the only one that this is bothering? I'm sure if it's bothering me, I'm going to hear it in the comments. It's triggered me that it's on the wrong side. It's kind of like, I feel like the spreadsheet's kind of like a little bit off center. But, yeah, like Rena, 3rd skill, Elegant Passive. Creates 2-turn shield amount equals to 20% of your max HP if you get a critical hit. If an other ally take damage exceeding half of the max HP, grant them the same shield to absorb damage. A little bit of a better version, but and then we have the remove all harmful effects on both you and the target ally. Recover HP by 20 and grant 1 stack nullify each. And then we have damage based on target's max HP for the skill 1, but she's just a support tank unit. What do we have next is the Bouncing Joker. So Bouncing Joker is kind of like the Water Drunken Master. There's a couple things that are like the Drunken Masters in Summoner's War, but not quite exactly the same thing. So we've got the attack down over here. Attack ignores enemy defense, just like the first skill of the Water Drunken Master. We've got the Trick, covers HP of all allies, grant 3 turn crit dampen. And then we have the Encore passive, removes 1 buff from the target after each attack. Additionally, there's a 40% chance to perform an extra attack after your turn ends using soft slap. Now this is not necessarily like the Water Drunken Master, this strip after each attack and a 40%. The other one, I'm trying to remember if all the Drunken Masters do extra, like a few of them have that extra chance to get extra hits with the first skill. But yeah, he's kind of similar to the Water Drunken Master. Next one we have the Giant. So the Giant is like the Water Bear Man in Summoner's War. We've got the first skill Taunt, damage based on your max HP. Second skill is different though, recover the HP of all allies by 20% of your max HP. Right, this is not with the water. I never actually built that Water Bear Man. Never built it. Then Exoskeleton passive, have the incoming damage that less than 25% of your max HP. In addition, damage other than direct attacks will also be reduced by half. So he's kind of similar, not quite exactly the same, but similar. And then we have the Gyroleon, which is like he's a pretty good farmer, I gotta say. And a lot of people agree because I've seen a lot of people 6-starring the Gyroleon. Hopefully I don't let you down, but I just feel like he does so much. I was looking at him like, man, this really feels like this is a decent unit. He's got double AoEs. That's really what it's about. Attacks all enemies. Probability of 80% goes up to 100 when it's max to remove all buffs, speed down for 2 turns, and apply attack down for 2 turns. Which is pretty crazy for a 3-star for skill 3. AoE, triple hit, strip, speed down, attack down. Wild. And then we have this AoE defense break as well. That's pretty nuts. So that he is like... no, not that. He's kind of like this, but he's also kind of like the AoE defense breaker. Like she doesn't do an AoE defense break with skill 2. So just a better version. But the skill 3 is like this. Skill 2, you could say, is kind of like any unit that has an AoE defense break, I suppose. Let's just go with like the Infernos. A couple of them have AoE defense breaks, second skill, but there's a lot of units that have AoE defense breaks. But yeah, solid unit. So what do we have next is Pumpkin Freak. I think we don't have, we don't have anything for the Pumpkin Freak. This is a unit that they just put out like right before launch. This wasn't in development for a long time. It's got this Entangling Vines passive. I mean, you guys, if I don't have anything listed on here, you guys can chime in the comments and let me know what you think is the closest thing to Summoner's War. And of course, some of these might be some newer units or some buffed units in Summoner's War that were part of the recent balance patches. So I might just not be aware of them. Or I might just be like reading it and not, because there was a one with the Ant Cannon that's like Orion, and I was reading the skill. I'm like, I don't know what that's like in Summoner's War. People are like, it's like Orion. Do you not know? And I'm just not used to reading Orion's skill. It's been years since I read it initially. I'm like, got it. Very frustrating and RNG and whatever, and sometimes really ridiculous on defense. But yeah, so Entangling Vines passive. When attacking the enemy, apply 2 turns of block with a 30% chance. Goes up to 60 after receiving a multi-hits attack. Reduce duration of all your debuffs by 1 turn. And counterattack using Pumpkin Vine, which is the second skill. Attacks the enemy 3 times. Probability of 70% to remove 1 buff. Apply 2 turns of defense down. And apply 2 turns of speed down. And then we've got this, which is a defense break. Multi-hit defense break as well. So I don't really, I'm trying to think of what this reminds me of in Summoner's War terms. I don't have anything off the top of my head that's like really sticks out. This though, this one really sticks out. That's what she said. I gotta stop doing that. I gotta stop doing that. Okay, let's continue. Sky Police is basically a galleon. It's a galleon. So first skill is a defense break. Second skill is a mark and increase action bar by 50%. Damage based on your defense. And then the third skill, grant all allies 2-turn attack buff and 2-turn defense break to all enemies. So effectively galleon, but also has a mark. There you go. And then what do we have? The String Maid. I don't think there's anything for this string. Oh, we do have something for the String Maid. It's kind of a mix between the 2 Sky Dancers, I feel. Not quite exactly like either one of them. But we do have attack an enemy 3 times. With each attack, shorten the buff duration. Kind of like the Miang skill 2. Shorten the buff duration by 1 turn. Afterwards, extend buff duration by 1 turn of all allies. Like Miang skill 3. Damage based on your speed. And then we have, so I mean, kind of like a Miang, right? And then we have the tea time, recover HP of all allies by 20%. Your max HP, grant them 2-turn attack up, which is kind of like the fire one, right? The fire one does attack up. And then we have this decrease action bar by 30%. That's not quite like any of them, but yeah. What do we have for this Ant Cannon? I already mentioned he is like Orion. He's got the gain another turn 30% chance. He's got the AoE defense break, won't land as a glancing hit. And then this, remove 2 buffs from a designated target, apply stun, select randomly 2 enemy targets to apply defense down, incurable, etc., etc. Increase the action bar of all allies by 30%. It is Orion, as we just mentioned. And then we have the Archon. So Archon has still 1 buff from the enemy, apply incurable for 2 turns to enemy without buffs. For each buff possessed, attack power increases by 40%. So this one is most like Chilling, I feel. He's not quite like exactly like Chilling though. But if you think about it, still 1 buff from the enemy, apply incurable for 2. The incurable is not really Chilling. But for each buff possessed, attack power increases by 40%. I mean, he's also kind of like El Sharion, to be honest. But I figure Chilling is better, right? He's a 4-star. He's a water unit. Attack enemies 3 times randomly. Each attack has a 50% chance to inflict 2-turn defense down. Attack always counts as an advantageous attribute attack. This is kind of like the... I mean, there's a few units that do this. Let's say like Water Lich, because the fire one is kind of like the Fire Lich too. So attacks all enemies, recovers HP, absorb their action bar over here. We've got the gains the next turn 15% chance when an enemy's turn ends. So the fire one is like the Fire Lich. I think they started making the water one like the Water Lich, and then they're like, let's change him to be a little bit different. So he's kind of like the Water Lich plus Chilling. I should have put a Water Lich there, but Yeah. So then we have the Bookworm, and the Bookworm is kind of, not quite, but kind of like a mix between a Gyr and a Lucia. So we have the third skill, rapidly siphon the target's temperature, steal up to 2 buffs, so kind of like a Gyr's skill 3, absorb 50% the action bar, so kind of like a Gyr's skill 3, and apply 2 turns of freeze. So we've got the Lucia who has a 2-turn sleep with the skill 3, 1 turn freeze with the skill 1, and then we have the prediction restore, 20% health to all allies, grant 1 stack of foresight, gain extra turn after using this ability, kind of like a Lucia's skill 2, not really because it's health to all allies, and foresight, which she doesn't do that, gains an extra turn after using this. So it's kind of like a stretch. The reason that I put a Lucia is because she has the 2-turn CC mostly, and she has a heal. Not very much like it though. So, and then this one is not like anything. And I'm sure some people are going to be like, oh, it's actually just like this unit. And Summoners War, I'm like, that makes more sense. But this is just what I was thinking. So it might be good for like guild content. All right, I'm thinking it could be really nice for guild content, this Bookworm. And then we have the Ninrat, and the Ninrat is actually like Hua. I was thinking Susano too, I know. So, Torrent passive, decrease action bar by 25% with each attack, and perform an extra attack with a 25%. The reason that I'm saying Susano is because the wind one is like Orochi kind of. So, decrease, well, actually, the Rakshasa, the Wind Rakshasa, she does a lot of dots too. Decrease action bar by 25% each attack, and then performs an extra attack with 25% chance. And then we have this, inflict speed down, decrease action bar, etc., damage based on speed, and does a dot, damage based on speed. It's like a Hua, it's like a water Hua. And then we have the Engineer Robot. So Engineer Robot is kind of like a Veramos a little bit. Not quite, but a little bit. So this one has, we got the 33% effect resistance during arena battle. Probably not that exciting. I don't know. Shorten debuff duration except inability effects by 1 turn on all allies. Each turn grants a 2-turn healing over turn for the ally with the lowest HP. Again, it's not Veramos, but it's similar-ish to Veramos. Recover HP by 20%, decreases cooldown by 1 turn for all allies. This is kind of nice though. Ability cannot be affected by cooldown modifying abilities. Kind of like how Varad works a little bit, where Varad can't be, you can't like Gani reset or Zyros reset Varad. No, not Varad. Jameer is the winner. So my god. Then we have this chance to strip a buff over here, damage based on your defense. So he's half like Veramos and half not like Veramos. So what else do we have? Gunslinger. Gunslinger is kind of like the 2 of these. He's kind of like Trevor. He's kind of like, is his name Avaris? Oh my god, I should know this. My brain hurts, guys. My brain has been hurting for a long time. We've got the leader skill, critical rate during dungeons. We've got the Pathfinder passive. Outgoing damage increases as your incoming damage. Outgoing damage increases and incoming damage decreases as your HP ratio gets lower. When your turn begins, gain a 1-turn attack up if your HP ratio is greater than half. Otherwise, gain a 1-turn defense up. It's not quite like, because Trevor doesn't do that part. So it's kind of like half like Trevor. And then we've got the aim shot, 1-turn mark on the enemy, and then attack. This attack won't land as a glancing hit. Deal more damage to boss or enemy that's under an ability effect. I mean, the Avaris is kind of, he does a brand. And he also does damage based on speed, I believe. And then this one also has damage based on speed. Double hit damage based on speed. So that's why I'm saying that. It's not a perfect match. Again, some of these aren't perfect matches. But he's kind of, think about it kind of like that. So speaking of perfect matches, this guy is basically Water Joker. Bombman is basically Water Joker. And you would think like, oh, well, maybe that means that this one is, no, it's not. He's not like Lucian. The wind Bookworm is like Lucian, but yeah, the Water Bombman is, he's got the revive automatically 50% HP, immunity on yield, and then he's got the bomb over here, extra accuracy, bomb damage equal to 330% of your attack. It's nice that they actually put the multipliers in here though. I will say that, so you don't have to be like, oh, what is the multiplier, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. But he does also have a stun, which is nice. What do we have next? Next we have the Water Ghost Captain, which is kind of like a Lisa. Let's take a look. He's got the 25 attack lead. I want to say speed. It looks kind of like speed, but it's not. We've got the Rum Kegger, removes all debuffs and decrease cooldown by 1 turn for all allies. Afterwards, team ups with 3 allies to attack the target. So, very much like Lisa. Photo, oh my god. Not photo, phosphorescence. Attack all enemies 4 times randomly. Each attack has a 50% chance to inflict 2-turn defense down. So, like I said, Water Lich. And then we have, what else do we have? Attack an enemy deals less damage to other enemies. That's really not like any of them, but it's kind of Water Lich skill 2 and Lisa skill 3. So what's the next one is the Puppet Artist. So the Puppet Artist is kind of like, I don't really know who to compare this to in Summoner's War terms. So we've got the first skill, which is absorb the target's action bar by 15%, inflict 1 turn sleep, damage based on your speed. Could be kind of like a Succubus, right? And then we have second skill, attacks all enemies. First attack has a 40% chance to inflict 1 turn freeze. Second attack has a 40% chance to inflict 1 turn sleep. It's great to have that freeze and sleep on them at the same time. Attack does not inflict critical hits, so it could be nice against those Renas and Camillas in the defense. Oh, I mean, I already forgot which one the Rena and the Camilla are. The one that I is like the Camilla. Spoilers for the video that came out already. Yeah, so we've got just AoE CC. And then we've got the Pendib passive. Inflicts 1 turn. That's a weird name, but okay. 1 turn defense down whenever you attack enemies. If target is suffering any debuff, decrease the action bar by 15% additionally. So we've got just a lot of CC. Think about it like this, is this skill has an AoE sleep, freeze, decrease attack gauge, and defense break. That's pretty nice. I mean, he's kind of also like the Water Espresso, maybe? Not quite the same, though, but yeah. Then we've got the Annihilator. An Annihilator is actually kind of like the Water Sniper. So, we've got the leader ability, crit rate, for water teammates. We've got the Water Cannon third skill, which is attacks an enemy, attack ignores target's defense, right? Water Sniper. Overpower attack an enemy, remove buffs on the target with a 80% chance. Deal 10% additional damage for each buff effect the target has, like the Water Sniper. The first skill, attacks an enemy 3 turn, damage over turn, ignores all buffs on the target, like the Water Sniper does ignore all buffs on the target. What else do we have? Wisp Catcher. So the Wisp Catcher is like, no, not that. Kind of. Not exactly, but kind of. So, Wisp Catcher, Wave Drive passive. At the start of the battle, increase speed by 30% of your level. When attacking, increase damage by up to 100% based on the speed difference between you and the enemy. Kind of. Not really. There's probably a better one, but this is just the first thing that comes to mind is start of battle, increase speed. Miles does start a battle, increase speed. And then we've got this. This is different, though. Attacks all enemies, recover HP equal to 20% of damage dealt for targets with a lower level than yourself. Additional 2% damage per level difference. It's kind of weird unless you're like using this to farm, I suppose. But I guess you could. I guess you could. But how? I mean, it's not. It's not going to be crazy unless you lap them. Like in terms of like getting those AoEs down. You possibly could, though. Attacks the enemy, decrease action bar by 30%. So, kind of like Miles. So this Water Assassin actually a little bit like both of these units. A little bit like the Water Demon and a little bit like the Fire Harp Magician. So, we've got the leader ability. All teammates get 33% effect accuracy during arena battle. Unfair trade, swap health ratios with target enemy or ally. Kind of like the Fire Harp Magician. After the swap, allies with half or less health receive 2 turns of invincible. I don't know why I said it like that. 2 turns of invincible. And healing over turn, while enemies with half or less health receive 2 turns of incurable. That's kind of nice. Deadly Price, consume 50% of your current HP, then attack the target. Kind of like the Water Demon. Lower your HP, the more defense is ignored. So like the Water Demon, gain 2 turns of shield based on the damage dealt of 50%. So, kind of like Water Demon. And then Poison Shiv. Attack the enemy 2 turn, damage over turn to both yourself and the target. This effect cannot be resisted. The Wind one does. Do all of these do? Yeah, damage over turn to both targets. Yeah. Interesting. Oh, this one is LD. I mean, it's of course it's an LD. It's an LD5, I mean. But, well, that's the next video. That's actually not the next video. The next video is going to be one of the normal elements. Then we have the bear. So bear, actually, shockingly enough, like the Wind String Master. That's the closest thing to it. It's not exactly, but it's kind of close-ish in Summoner short term. So at the start of the enemy's turn, if you're in the sleep state, your action bar decreases by 15%, and you will snore and affect them, reducing their max HP by 5%, with a 30% goes up to 50% chance. Apply 1 turn of blind. Kind of like what the Wind String Master does. Not exactly like it, but on their turn, if you are in a certain state that is not normal, decrease their HP and decrease your own action bar so you stay in that state longer. And then we've got the hibernation, recover 30%. It's not an actual bear. Anyway, recover 30% of your HP, gain 2 turns of sleep. Additionally, you will not wake up even if attacked. And then we've got the gigging, defense down, recover yourself by 30% of damage dealt. Damage increases based on your maximum HP. What is next is the Twinblade, which I feel like it doesn't really have a Summoner's War counterpart. It's kind of a different beast, different entity. So there's a core, kind of like a bruiser, damage dealer. It's a damage dealer, but not like a nuker, right? So we've got the 33% critical rate during arena battle. We've got the passive at the beginning of the battle. Select the fastest ally. Raise your speed to this ally. Additionally, when this ally performs an attack during their turn, you will attack together. Maybe similar to one of the newer units, like one of the collab units or something. Double slash attack an enemy 2 times. First attack removes 1 buff. Second attack increases cooldown by 2 turns. There's some units that do stuff like this in Summoner's War. And then the quick slash attack an enemy. Cast double slash automatically. So double slash automatically on a random enemy if the target is killed by this attack. So and this one's a nat 5. I think this is the first nat 5. Yeah. So then we have, but it's kind of a different thing. He's a team up unit. He finds the unit that has the highest speed on your team, and he will team up with them and keep attacking with them. So, which, I mean, to everything I saw, there's team ups, but not quite like that. Then we in Summoner's War. So then we have the Man-at-Arms, and the Man-at-Arms is kind of similar to Varad. So Man-at-Arms has he's got the teammates get 33% defense leader skill. He's got the AoE attack, deplete their action bar, inflict 1 turn freeze, damage based on your max HP. Second skill, grant an ally target. This one is not like that. This one is kind of like, I think it's kind of like Chandra, actually. Grant ally 2 turn escort and grant yourself a 2 turn healing over turn. Extra turn after using this ability. So you can do this, and then you can, well, you actually maybe intervene first and then do that. Anyway, and then we have the thrust, attack an enemy, damage increase as the target's HP gets worse. So he's kind of Chandra Varad. And then we have the Ironfist, which I'm sure a lot of you already saw, but Ironfist kind of like Camilla. So he's got the 42% HP leader skill for water teammates, has the Hand of Purity passive, recover 10% HP of you and another ally with lowest HP at the start of your turn, decrease damage by 50%, and remove all debuffs if you receive a critical hit. So Camilla. Second skill, attacks an enemy, 80% chance to inflict defense down and 1 turn stun, damage based on your defense. And then we have the Flick, attack an enemy, removes 1 buff, damage based on your defense. I almost stopped the video. That would have been very frustrating. But yeah, Camilla. This one, Dr. Evil, at first, before I read the skills, I was like, oh, he seems like a damage dealer or a CC unit. Nope, not really. Not that. Because I think people were like 6-starring them and like making them the rep. And I'm like, oh, he must be a farmer. Not a farmer. Not even close. So this is kind of like it's kind of like some of the unicorns. He doesn't have the unicorn shape-shifting skill, but third skill, grant to all allies 3 turns of immunity and 3 turns of reflect. So water unicorn does the immunity, and then we've got the dark one that kind of does the reflect, even though there's that other unit that does reflect too, the Cookie Run collab unit, which maybe that's a better example. Grants all allies 2 turns speed up and enemies 2 turns speed down. Not quite like the unicorns there, but he's a support unit. He's mostly just a support unit to keep your tanky, annoying units more tanky and annoying. So probably good for defense. Yeah, probably good for defense. Maybe on those not Nemesis runes. And then what else do we have? Attack an enemy 2 times. Each attack has a 30% chance to apply 2 turn blind damage based on your speed. But what else do we have? Electromancer. Water Electromancer is kind of similar to kind of a mixture between both of these. So kind of Lima, because he strips and he also cleanses. He switches buffs to debuffs and debuffs to buffs. Then also a little bit like a Bellio, not quite exactly like a Bellio, but effect resistance. He's got the 3rd skill, remove all debuffs on all allies. Like Lima, convert certain debuffs into corresponding buffs. Like Lima, she cleanses and she puts up a bunch of buffs. Then recover HP by 50%, increase the action bar by 30%. So Abellio, increase action bar and recover HP. So that's where I got the Lima and Abellio. He's got the attacks all enemies, 70% chance to remove all buffs, replaces several buffs to debuffs. Kind of like Lima skill 2, replaces buffs to debuffs. And then we have the shock skill 1, attack an enemy 3 times, increase your action bar by 10% each time attack lands a critical hit, which is like Lima. And then we have the Music Queen, and Music Queen is a direct copy of Bastard. It's just the same unit. It's just the same unit. We've got the leader ability, 33 defense. We've got the increased action bar by all allies, attack up and shield, just like Bastet. We have the Cursed Melody, attack all enemies 3 times to inflict 2 turn defense down and curable blind, 70% chance, damage increased by 15% for each debuff on the target. And then we have the attack break for skill 1. It's Bastet. And it's Bastet. Then we have the Sorcerer, which is very similar to Poseidon. We have the skill 3, attacks all enemies, deplete their action bar, 2 turn speed down, damage based on your speed, attack won't let a glancing hit. So Poseidon, 2nd skill, silence, attacks all enemies, 1 turn silence, damage based on target's max HP. And then the first skill is a little different, 20 to 50% chance to inflict stun, which is not like Poseidon, but yeah, it's the closest thing you can get to a Poseidon, because it's basically Poseidon. This one, Mr. Barbarian, kind of like a Warbear. Kind of like the Warbear with a little hint of Chow. Just a little hint of Chow. Not a whole lot of Chow, though. So we've got the, what is this? Water Teammates, 42% defense. We've got this 3rd skill, Rising Tide passive. Tidal energy surges through the body, removing all debuffs, recover HP by 100%, and increasing. So, I mean, it's kind of also like the Lumericia as well. Remove all debuffs, recover HP by 100%, increasing tidal power by 4 points up to 8 points. Subsequently, lose 1 point of tidal power each turn. Based on the current tidal power, gain 5% chance for extra turn, 5% max HP per point. So he increases max HP. He heals himself. He increases max HP. In addition, increase your damage by 15% of your current HP. And then we have the Megaton Smash. Attacks an enemy. DAC won't land as a glancing hit. Ignores all buffs on the target. Kind of like Chow. Will ignore all buffs on the target. And then we have the damage over time if the attack lands as a critical hit. But I mean, it's kind of more like Lumericia. She does doesn't the dot only activate if it's a critical hit? Or maybe I'm thinking the Water Undyne. Oh my god. It's been a few months. It feels like a few years, because I can't remember anything. What do we have next? We have the Mercenary Mother. So Mercenary Mother is kind of like, I don't really know what to relate this to be honest. We've got the effect accuracy over here, leader ability. We have the Rebellion passive at the start of the battle, grants all allies effect resistance equal, and it's kind of like the Water Rune Blacksmith. All allies effect resistance equal to 20% of your own. The effect cannot stack with similar effects. When an ally gains inability effect, remove all debuffs from you and grants 1 turn of provoke, and then immediately takes a turn. Kind of a little bit like Josephine. I mean, I guess I could have put like, this is like Josephine, plus the Water Rune Blacksmith. And then we have the Protect, removes all debuffs on you, on you and target ally, and grants 1 turn invincible each. When targeting yourself, the duration is increased by 1 turn. Kind of like, I mean, not like Josephine, but like some of the other ones, right? Like, for example, the light one, the light paladin. And then we have the back swipe, attacks an enemy, 40% chance to inflict stun damage based on your defense. So he's kind of like paladin-y, the Mercenary Mother, right? Then we have the Wandering Monk. I mean, it is the Water Wandering Monk. There's a typo. Typo, mouth typo. Yeah. Wandering Monk is Molong. It's just, it's literally Molong. So, we've got this self-sacrifice, 75% of the enemy's max HP. Also, take the same amount of damage. Damage inflicted will not exceed your current HP, etc., etc. We've got the 42% HP during guild battle only, though. And then the meditation attacks all enemies 3 times, each attacking the 15% up to 35%. Chance to remove 1 buff, inflict 1 turn stun damage based on your max HP. And then this one does a defense break. I'm sure that's surprising to no one. It is Molong. Then we have the Psycho Surgeon. Psycho Surgeon is kind of like, I don't know, because it's not quite like anything else in Summoner's War exactly. Leader ability, all teammates get 25 speed. He is for targeting certain units only. That's kind of his thing. Concentration stacks by, so this is a passive. Get concentration stacks by keeping attack. No, I read that correctly. By attacking the same target and losing all stacks if the target changes. Increase your speed by 20 each time, stackable up to 5 times. So that's 100 extra speed, which is not bad if you keep attacking the same unit. When attacking a focus target, it will be judged as attribute advantage, and when being attacked by a focus target, it will be judged as attribute disadvantage. When the focus target attacks, you will counterattack. And then we have the Tri-Slice, attacks an enemy 3 times. Each attack has a 50% chance to inflict 2-turn defense down. And then we have the damage over time, damage based on your speed, which is really nice because he stacks speed, and he has a speed lead over here. So, but this is not based on speed from what it says. But yeah, it's not quite like anything. I mean, unless something new in Summoner's War happened. And if it did, please let me know. I'm just not, I'm a few months behind any of the Summoner's War stuff. What do we have? This Sphere Sage. So I had the opportunity to fight one of these like the second day of playing the game. And I'm like, what exactly does this guy do? Is he kind of like the Water Robo? He's kind of like the Water Robo. He's kind of like a Samoth mixed with the Water Robo. So we've got the 33 speed during arena battle. Yeah. He has the Hydra Core passive. When receiving fatal damage, explode to attack all enemies. Transform into core form. Gain 2-turn invincible. So like I said, kind of like Samoth and the Water Robo. Core form is immune to debuffs and action bar decreasing effect, but cannot attack. Reverts to Sage form when HP is full. While in core form, recover 20% HP at the start of your turn. Other allies recover 10% HP at the start of their turn. He's just a little bit better. He's better than the Water Robo. Between the fact that he's got the speed lead and then also the second skill, attacks all enemies 70% chance to increase their cooldown by 1 turn. Like Samoth, automatically casts this ability when in core form with lower damage and effect rate. And then we have this, removes 1 buff from the target with a 30% chance. He's an old Samoth. That's what he is. He's a pre-nerf Samoth. But he is like Samoth and the Water Robo. Then we have Specialist. Is kind of like, I don't know, in terms of Summoner's War. So we've got the 33% leader skill. We have the Degradation Ray. Apply 2 turns of Hex and block to the enemy target. Then increase this action bar. Increase the action bar of all allies by 30%. This skill ignores immunity. I might be missing something. I feel like I'm probably missing something that's like very obvious and I'm just not getting it. But yeah. And then we have the Electro Web, attacks all enemies 2 times, 50% chance to apply 1 turn of stun and damage over turn each time, which is not bad. And then we have the Gauss Rifle, launch an electromagnetic projectile to attack the enemy, 60 to 80% chance to apply 1 turn of paralysis. And then we have the War Nurse. I believe is this the last one? Yeah, that's the last one. So the War Nurse is like... Good question. Good question indeed. So we have the all teammates get 42% attack during dungeon battle. That's not bad for speedruns. Stimulant passive, you and another ally with the highest critical damage will have their critical damage increased by 100%. This effect also good for dungeon speedruns. Effect cannot stack with similar effects. When the ally lands a critical hit, both of your action bars will increase by 15%. Your next action will deal 25% more damage and healing, stacking up to 10 times. This seems like it's really good for speed runs, especially of the heavy metal dungeon. Then we have the local anesthesia, attack the enemy, apply oblivion and defense down for 2 turns. And then the injection, attack the enemy, attack the enemy and recover 15% of the HP of the ally with the lowest health. I feel like this is going to be really good for dungeon speedruns. And that's why I said it multiple times. So anyway, that's it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully it helps you make more sense out of the units in this game. I'm gonna go to bed now. I'll see you as always in the next one.